What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show. And today, what we saw today was almost reminiscent of last year, a Thursday night game against the Philadelphia Eagles, who would eventually become the Super Bowl champions. Almost identical score, 26-18. Could have stuck in that game a little bit better last year. Could have stuck in this game a little bit better this year. The talk, we couldn't get nothing going. This offense looks extremely rusty, and to me, it looks like the team got outplayed and outcoached. We lost a very key member in Dietrich Wise. This was a guy that I talked about last year coming here, and this year his strengths and abilities was showcased very broadly. So with that, there was a lot of mistakes that was made in this game. One thing, so just to get all this out the way, Washington loses to the Green Bay Packers 27-18. Remember last year they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles 26-18. I remember talking about the fact of understanding when Brian Robinson will be missed. As we saw, this was one of those games. Brian Robinson, the running style of Brian Robinson, even though it's not everybody's cup of tea, it makes offensive linemen kind of get comfortable with fighting a defensive line, fighting the defensive line back. Washington came out in this game seeming like they just wanted to throw the ball, and that they weren't intent on trying to run the ball at all. And this is why I said what I said about Brian Robinson. A good example of what the Brian Robinson would have brought to this showcase is that he would have pounded the ball enough to the point at least he would have broken one. Yeah, he probably wouldn't have broken one for 50, 60 yards, but he would have broken one to ease the Green Bay Packers off a little bit. That's what happened in last year's game. Remember, Brian Robinson had 63 yards rushing in that game, but he made Philadelphia back off some. The current problem that we're having right now is that defensively, Frankie Louvu, I'm going to say what I should have said last year, but I'll say it this time. Frankie Louvu is a poor tackler. He does not wrap up to save his life. I mean, every time you see him, he's always looking to get the big hit, but he never wraps up to actually get the guy down. And that to me is the most frustrating thing about Frankie Louvu. Also, for some reason, Washington isn't deploying him the same way they did last year. I don't know what the reason for that is or why, but for some reason, it almost seemed like Washington kind of got cute in this game. It didn't make sense for what was going on. Let's talk about Jaden. Jaden looks really, really rusty. And I'm not saying that he doesn't seem like he worked on anything, but in the two games that we saw, he doesn't look like he's really zoned in. Unlike last year, where it looked like he was zoned in, he understood and everything like that. This year, it doesn't look like he's that zoned in. And that worries me a little bit. Green Bay played a hell of a game. I will say that to me, I feel that Green Bay's cornerback Nixon was getting away with a lot of holding that they were constantly calling on our corners, which I do feel wasn't quite as fair as people should have assessed that game, because Nixon was getting away with a lot of holding, a whole hell of a lot. and they were calling it all day. I want everybody to understand, don't be mad at Marshawn Lattimore. They ran him ragged today. And what that means is that, I'm going to tell y'all what some teams do. If y'all paid attention, Marshawn Lattimore had to play through stuff the whole game. Like, they kept running him back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There was one play where he was on one side, ran to the other side, then had to run back to the other side because of the fact that the wide receiver was running back and forth. Then you talking about there was another play where he was locked up one-on-one, but then the receiver ran around, the play started, the receiver ran across, and Marshawn Lattimore had to run behind the other corner and the linebackers just to try to catch up with the wide receiver. So don't be mad at Marshawn Lattimore in this game, because he was just ran ragged. Like, they just kept running him back and forth, and it was nothing he could do. We also see why Jeremy Chin is better than Will Harris. Will Harris, again, another one. He needs to learn how to wrap up. He wants to make the big hit, but he doesn't make the play. And that's something that I think needs to be on the board next. Tackling. Teaching them how to tackle. Because I've never seen players play this poorly when it comes to tackling. Like, you don't see anybody wrapping up. Not a single soul wrapping up. And I'm not certain what Cliff Kingsbury was thinking this particular game plan, but running the ball wasn't it. And this is why I said running back by committee never works. It never works. It works sometimes during regular season, but it never truly works. Why? Because there are things that you miss. Again, Brian Robinson's pass protection. You missed that majorly. If y'all pay attention to what's going on right now, especially when it comes to Jaden Daniels, what Jaden Daniels is missing is a pass protector in the backfield, which is what Brian Robinson was. So now what happens is that if you pay attention to the fact that you got Josh Connerly, who's struggling at right tackle, if you had Brian Robinson there to pass protect, guess what? Josh Connerly wouldn't look as bad as he does, and the pocket wouldn't collapse as much around Jaden Daniels. And that's what happened. You saw a lot of that going on. And like I said, if this keeps going on, if this keeps being a problem, this is going to be a massive hit to the Commanders. This was not a good game. They were outcoached. They were outplayed. And again, losing Dietrich Wise is bigger than people can imagine. Like, he again, I said something about him last year. This year we got to do. Adam Peters needs to be on the phone immediately. This is why this is why I respect Howie Roseman. Game 1, he saw that, oh hell, we got a problem. Let me go get on the phone. The man made a trade for Tank Bigsby, who in reality was Jacksonville's best running back. Adam Peters needs to start making deals like that. See if you can go get Tyler Algier. Make some moves. Do something. Get something. Find a way to make stuff happen. Because again, currently right now, we're now going to be behind the 8 ball. We got the Raiders coming into the house, coming into the fair track. And understand, everybody's now watched Josh Connerly for 2 straight games, and he struggled. Now your one blocking tight end is now out. He's out. Your one blocking tight end is out. You also got your blocking tight end is out. Noah Brown went down. Who else? Like I said, Dietrich Wise went down. Trey Amos for a minute, I don't know what was going on, but he was in and out. I don't know who number 31 is. I got to find out who number 31 is. But he was in for a nice little portion of the games when Trey Amos was out. I don't know what's going on here. Like I said, I don't want people to blame Marshon Lattimore because y'all saw, but they ran him ragged. And when y'all see the all 22s, y'all are going to see what I'm talking about. They ran Marshon Lattimore ragged in that game because they kept trying to, they did everything they could to tire him out. And that's exactly what they did. They kept motioning back and forth, and him trying to work through stuff that it just wasn't working. Bill needs to get his pass protecting up. And again, this goes back to missing Brian Robinson. Bill needs to get his pass protecting up. Because he has to understand that in this game, running the ball is just one element. Pass protection makes you special. Running the ball and pass protecting makes you special. And he needs to understand that. Austin Eckler, another one, out more than likely. And this is what I talked about before. About not trading Brian Robinson because Austin Eckler has this injury history. Now you're going to have to depend on Bill, Chris Rodriguez, and Jeremy McNichols. Think about that. That is going to be your running back by committee now. Because Austin Eckler is out. And not to mention, this may be the end of it for him in football. I don't want to discredit Green Bay. Because Green Bay did a hell of a job against Washington. I remember Dan Quinn saying, oh, when we was getting ready for the Giants, we was also getting ready for the Green Bay Packers. Well, if y'all remember, at the time, Dallas hadn't traded Michael Parsons at that time. So, which Green Bay was they getting ready for? Were they getting ready for the one without Parsons? Because they clearly don't seem like they were getting ready for the one with Parsons. Because that whole gameplay made no sense. 0 sense. Then on top of that, it's like, yo, like, why didn't you have the corners jam those receivers? Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. Romeo Doubs and all them, they're probably solid players. But there's no way in hell you telling me that the strength of Washington could be the secondary, that we couldn't have let them jam those guys at the line of scrimmage, even when they think that they're going to run across. Another thing, why not just have guys just stick to one side of the field? Don't follow the motion. That's where Marshon Lattimore got caught up so much, because he was following the motioning player each and every time. And it seemed like Green Bay purposely did that. Every time we saw somebody in motion, it was Marshon Lattimore running with them. And not running anywhere, running from one side of the field all the way to the other side of the field. And this is before the play even starts. So, I'm pretty sure Marshon Lattimore was probably sitting up there exhausted as hell and like, what the F? Man. And this bothers me even more, because you see how little small changes that you think maximizes your team can also be destructive. Everybody who was talking about Brian Robinson, he's no good, he's not this is where Brian Robinson comes into play. His pass protecting is a key thing. Right now, Brian Robinson was in, we wouldn't be talking about how badly Josh Connolly is playing right now, because Brian Robinson was that good when it came to pass protecting. Those type of things matter. Even when it comes to running the ball over and over and over again, that's something Brian Robinson does. And like I said, he would batter it to the point at where it's like, okay, y'all, let's come up and let's give some room to Terry. And we've seen 2 straight games where a lot of the running game didn't help with the passing game. like I said, Green Bay had a hell of a fucking thing to do. I mean, they went out there and they were not playing. They brought everybody when they wanted to. They blitzed as much as they wanted to. They sat up there and they overloaded Josh Connolly on plenty of times. Him and Allegretti. The right side was just horrendous yesterday. Absolutely horrendous. And I mean, it's one of those situations where I just don't understand, like, what more is there to do? I mean, Adam Peters needs to get on the phone. He now needs another pass rusher that can make an impact like Dietrich Wise. I mean, right now, because pretty much what happened is that fucking Howie Roseman snatched up Zadarius Smith, and in the running back department, he snatched up Tank Bigsby. So Adam Peters needs to get on the phone immediately. See if Tyler Algier is available. Just go out there and see who's out there. See if you can get James Conner from the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know if he's injured, but it looks like they're about to move. They're about to move over to Trey Benson full time. So see what you can get. I mean, this guy's okay, and he's their starter. But see if Pittsburgh would be willing to move Ty Warren. Find something. Because right now it's not working, and you need a guy who can block, who can be a great pass protector. Because right now we don't have that in that running back by committee. We don't have that. Defensively, the play calls defensively. Frankie Louisville need to step his damn game up. Like he needs to find a way to make plays and stop sitting up there and like trying to make the big hit but not wrapping up and tackling. Like he needs to be a better tackler. Really, he really needs to be that. And I don't know. Again, I'm not going to blame completely on Joe Witt, but the fact that y'all not deploying Frankie Louisville the same way is crazy to me. I mean, if y'all paid attention, there was a point where pressure got to Jordan Love, and he threw the ball. He immediately threw the ball and threw it out of bounds. You should have been bringing that same pressure the whole time. Tucker Kraft was a guy that I was high on in the draft. I remember doing my not mock draft and saying, in fact, it was not what would I do versus what would Ron do. And I was for certain Ron would have taken Tucker Kraft. I mean, for anybody who was evaluating, well, I guess I was one of the few people. Anybody who was doing evaluations that year, Tucker Kraft for me was a highly rated tight end. And I ranked them higher than Luke Musgrave. And Musgrave, I think, went in the first round. It was, I can't remember all the tight ends, but was it the Brock Bowers draft? No. I can't remember. But I remember it was a bunch of tight ends in that draft. Because I remember Tajay Spears, another guy, was also in that draft as well. But Tucker Kraft was one of my highest rated tight ends. He was a guy that I said, yo, I know he goes to South Dakota State, but this guy is for real. In fact, I think him and Cody Mock came out the same. Yeah, in fact, that was the draft. The Cody Mock draft, because that's where I recognized him. And I was like, whoa, who's this tight end? Tucker Kraft was dangerous back in college. And the fact that he's in the NFL and showing how dangerous he was, I'm telling y'all, I was not surprised. Zach Ertz, I told y'all to get this offense going, you had to go through Zach Ertz. You had to. They went through Zach Ertz, got the offense going. Some reason, somehow, they stopped going to Zach Ertz. Don't understand why. I mean, the one thing that I'm learning more and more is that they'll go with that. They'll force a hot hand like they did against the Giants, where they were forcing the ball to Debo. But when somebody actually when there is an actual hot hand, and you found a hole, Keep exploiting that. Zach Ertz should have had a huge game today. A massive game today. And he didn't. This is one that this is a game that shows that we're not on that same level yet. I hope the loss to the Green Bay Packers isn't foreshadowing of them winning the Super Bowl, because that happened to us last year. We lost to the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday night, 26-18. And here we are this Thursday night. Philadelphia goes and they win the Super Bowl. Here we are this Thursday night. We lose to the Green Bay Packers 27-18. We'll see what happens. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about this game? Do y'all agree with me? How many of y'all think that Brian Robinson would have made a difference just solely with his pass protecting ability? Y'all tell me what y'all think. Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and it's been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.